Hi again, Mark here from talkingbass.net. So I'm just jumping in here to let you know that this video is just one of 52 lessons in my Simple Steps to Slap Bass course. The course takes you through every aspect of slapping, from absolute basics of the technique all the way through to advanced techniques like double thumbing, and it's all presented in a very ordered, step-by-step manner. So check out this video, and if you'd like to learn some of the techniques that are displayed in these riffs, just follow the link over to talkingbass.net in the info below. Okay? Enjoy! In this lesson, we're going to work through 5 new slap riffs that include all of the techniques that we've worked through so far. So we're going to include the cross hammering, the flamenco rolls, the repeated notes, and all of the other things like the muted palm slaps, hammer-ons, and ghost notes. This riff's in G minor and uses a shuffle 16th note feel. So instead of standard straight 16th notes, 1 E-ander, 2 E-ander, 3 E-ander, 4 E-ander, we have shuffle 16th notes that have a little swing to them. So they sound like this: 1 E-ander, 2 E-ander, 3 E-ander, 4 E-ander. Okay? So we begin with a slap on the G 3rd fret of the E string. Then we have a pop on the F 3rd fret of the D string. So we have pop, and it's a repeated note. So we have pop and then slap. Okay, so pop, slap on the F. Then we have a cross hammer. So we're going to hammer down on the D 5th fret of the A string. So we just hammer on out of nowhere there. So then we slap down on the G again, 3rd fret of the E string. So altogether that lick sounds like this. Okay, so you just want to get that down first. So slap, repeated note, hammer, and slap. For the second half of that bar, we have the following: 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have a ghost note on the E string. Then we have 2 pops on the D string, E and F, so that's 2nd fret and 3rd fret. Then we have a slap on the open E, hammer on to the 3rd fret of the E string, and then we slap the B flat at the 1st fret of the A string. So that's... Okay, so all together. Okay, so that's the second half of that bar. So if we put the whole of that bar together, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. For the second bar, we have the following. So we have the B flat that we've just played, first fret of the A string. Then we have a pop on the B flat at the octave, at the 3rd fret of the G string. So we have, so that's on beats 1 and 2. Then we have this slide and these 2 little chords. So you can slide from anywhere really, but we'll slide from the F, 3rd fret of the D string. So we're going to pop that note to give us quite a bit of attack. So we've got quite a lot of note there to slide up. So we pop, slide up to the C at the 10th fret of the D string. Then we pop the E at the 9th fret of the G string. So it's a little major 3rd pattern. So then we slap the C that we've just come from, so 10th fret of the D string. Then we slide down 2 frets, okay, down to the 8th fret. So that's the B flat. So then we pop the D 7th fret of the G string. And then we simply slap on the B flat again at the 8th fret of the D string. So, and that's the whole of that lick. So we're actually sliding this chord down. After we've slid up and played the major 3rd, we slide the whole 3rd down so we get that sliding chord sound. Oops. Then simply pop and slap on that chord again. So, and remember this is all with a shuffle 16th note feel. So, okay, so all of that bar. So start really slow and build up speed with it for accuracy. So, okay. Now let's put bars 1 and 2 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Three, 4. The 3rd bar sounds like this. A little slower. Okay, so we have the slap on the G again, 3rd fret of the E string. Then we have the repeated notes on the F, 3rd fret of the D string. So pop and then slap. And then we have a hammer on at the G 5th fret of the D string, and then a pop on the B flat 3rd fret of the G string. And cut that B flat short, so we have. Okay, then once again we have the slap on the open E string, hammer on at the 3rd fret, the G, and then we have C, B, B flat. Okay, so 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret on the A string. That leads us into the 4th bar. So we have, okay, so open E string, hammer on, and then the rest of those notes are slapped. So slowly, always remember to keep that shuffle 16th note feel. 3, 4. The 4th bar sounds like this. Okay, so we begin on the B flat that we've just played, 1st fret of the A string. Then we have a flamenco roll. So we have 2 pops, 1st finger and 2nd finger on the D and the G string, and this is all ghost notes. Then we drop down to slap on the A string, once again with a ghost note. Then we finish with pop on the A flat 1st fret of the G string. So all of that moves very slowly. Okay, so just keep trying that and build up speed. Okay, the second half of that bar sounds like this. So we have B flat, 1st fret of the A string, and we slide up to the C at the 3rd fret. Then we have the octave pattern, so we pop the C at the 5th fret of the G string. Then we slap the C, 3rd fret of the A string again. Then B flat, 3rd fret of the G string. We've got a lot of accent on there, and then back down to the C, 3rd fret of the A string. Okay, and that's all of that second half. So Okay, so if we add that to the first half of the bar, so you have to start out slow with this, and then just build up speed. Now let's try the whole riff slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now with the backing track. Okay. So this riff's in E minor, and we start with two 3-note patterns that we've used plenty of times in this course, where we slap the open E string, then muted palm slap, and then we slap the ghost note. So open string, muted palm slap, keep the hand there, and slap. Okay, so it's a 3-note pattern. And we play it twice. Okay, so I'm keeping the index finger there for the home position over the 5th fret of the A, D and G strings, because we're going to be using those notes in a second. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the first part to get down. Then we have a pop at the G 5th fret of the D string, and then we slap to give us the repeated note. So okay, so pop and slap on that G. Then we have a cross hammer, so we hammer down with the 3rd fret, the ring finger of this of the fretting hand, on the 7th fret of the A string. So that's an E. So okay, so that's the first move to get down. The next move looks like this. Okay, so we slap the open A string, then we hammer on at the D 5th fret of the A string, then we slap that D, and then we pop the octave. So that's the D at the 7th fret of the G string. So this is one of those octave hammer-on licks. Okay, then we slide that whole pattern up 2 frets up to the E octave, then slap and pop the octave. Okay, so 7th fret A string, 9th fret G string. So, okay. So, once we put that together with the first half of the bar, we have the following. The second bar begins with the following lick. Okay, so we begin with a slap on the open E string, then we have the muted palm slap, then we have the open E again, then muted palm slap, ghost note. Okay, so we've got a 2-note pattern and then a 3-note pattern. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Then we pop the E 2nd fret of the D string. So okay, so you just want to get that into, turn it into one sort of automatic motion. But you have to begin slow and then build up speed. Then we have 2 ghost notes slapped and popped on the E and the D string. So for the second half of that bar, we have the following. So we're slapping the G 3rd fret of the E string and sliding into the A octave pattern. So 3rd fret to the 5th fret of the E string, slap the 5th fret again, then we pop the octave at the 7th fret of the D string. slap, slide, slap, pop. Okay, so G, A, A, A. Very slowly. Okay, then we have open E string, slapped, then hammer on at the G, 3rd fret of the E string, and then slap and pop the G octave. 3rd fret E string, 5th fret D string. So it's the same move as the previous one, but we just don't have the slide in there. We have a hammer on. So all together. Okay. Okay. So the whole of that second bar sounds like this. And up to speed. So let's put those first 2 bars together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Three, 4. And up to speed. 3, 4. Bars 3 and 4 are very similar to bars 1 and 2 with some very slight alterations, and I'll run through them really quickly, but remember this is all tabbed out with the sheet music in the lesson material, so download that and I'll just point out the alterations. So bar 3 sounds like this. Okay, so instead of the D to E octave we had in the first bar, we have C sharp to D. Okay, so open A string open A string slap, hammer on at the C sharp at the 4th fret of the A string, then we've got the octave there, slide up to the D, 7th fret of the G string, and then play the octave on the D. So, okay, so that bar all together. Okay, so then bar 4 is almost identical to bar 2, but instead of the A then to the G, we have G to the A. Okay, so that sounds like this. Okay, so we have a slide from the F sharp 2nd fret up to the G at the 3rd fret, and then we slap and pop the octave on the G, 3rd fret E string, 5th fret D string. And then we have the slide G up to the A, 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the E string, and again, just slap and pop the octave, 5th fret E string and 7th fret D string. So that bar all together. So in the second bar it was A to G, and in the 4th bar, G to A. So here's the whole riff slowly. 2, 3, 4. And now full speed with the backing track. So this riff's in A, and we begin with a slap on the open A string. Then we have a strummed chord. So we have, now to do this, you take the first finger, the index finger, and just bar it across the 5th fret of the D and the G string. So we're holding down the G and the C. So that gives us that. And then we just hammer on with the 2nd finger at the 6th fret of the G string, so on the C sharp. So Okay, so strum the bar at the 5th fret, hammer on at the 6th fret. Okay, and then we slap the open A again. So the whole move sounds like this. Okay, so we've just slapped that A string after the chord, and then we play a muted palm slap and then a ghost note. Okay, so it's that standard 3-note pattern that we've covered a lot. So open A string, muted palm slap, and then ghost note. Then we have a pop on the F sharp, 4th fret of the D string, and then the G, 5th fret of the D string, with a ghost note in between on the A string. So altogether, that sounds like this. And I'm using the first finger of the fretting hand for both of those pop notes. Up to speed. Okay, so altogether with the strummed chord. Next, we have 2 ghost notes slapped and popped on the A string and the D string. Then we have a hammer on from the E to the F sharp, 7th fret to the 9th fret of the A string. So we slap the first note, hammer on, and then we pop the A, 7th fret of the D string. So that's that little lick. So we have the 2 ghost notes, and then the hammer on. So put that with the rest of the bar. And up to speed. For the second bar, we have the same action up to that strummed chord, but then after the open A string, we have muted palm slap, slap for the ghost note, and then pop ghost note on the D string. So instead of a 3-note action we have a 4-note action with the pop. Okay? Then we have 2 10th patterns. So we have G and B, so that's 3rd fret E string, 4th fret G string, so it's a major 10th, and then G sharp and C, 4th fret E string, 5th fret G string. So it's the same pattern, that major 10th on the G, and we just take it up a fret. Okay, and it's 2 short notes there, it's a 16th note, and then held. Okay, so all together. The third bar is very similar to the first bar, but instead of the hammer-on from the E to the F sharp, we have a hammer-on from the D to the E, 5th fret to the 7th fret, and then G to the A, 5th fret to the 7th fret on the D string. Okay, so we slap the D, hammer on, and then pop the G, hammer on. Okay, so that's the only difference. So that bar sounds like this. Okay, for the fourth bar, we have this lick that involves cross hammers and repeated notes. So it sounds like this. Okay, so we've got a set of repeated notes. So we have G, 5th fret of the D string twice, then the E, 7th fret of the A string twice, then another 2 on the G there, 5th fret of the D string, and then a hammer onto the A. So to do this, we have a slap, 2 slaps on the G, then a cross hammer on the E, on the A string, and then a slap. So okay, so 2 slaps, hammer on, slap, then we go back to the G again, 5th fret of the D string, pop, slap for the repeated note, so, and then hammer on to the A, okay, so at the 7th fret of the D string, so, then pop the C, 5th fret of the G string. Okay, so that's the whole lick. So you want to start off slow with that, gradually build up speed. Okay, now the reason I start with the slap is because of what we've just played in the previous bar. We've had a little pop there for those 2 notes, and we're still in position. Okay, because it's very difficult to play the pop and then pop again, it just doesn't flow as well. So it's worth practicing those 2 together. We've got the D to E, G to A, then So, okay, so practice that in isolation. At the end of that bar, we have the two 10th patterns again, G and G sharp, both major 10ths, but we hammer into them from the open E string. So we have slap the open E, hammer onto the G, and then pop the B, then slap the open E again, hammer onto the G sharp, and then pop the C. Okay, so with the lick at the beginning of the bar. So that's the whole bar. Now let's try the whole riff slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's try with the backing track. So this riff's in E and we begin with a slap on the open E string. Then we pop this chord. So that's a little tritone shape. G sharp, 6th fret of the D string and D, 7th fret of the G string. We're popping it with the 1st and 2nd fingers. Okay, so we're playing with the 1st and 2nd fingers on the fretting hand as well. So that little tritone shape. So just get that move first. Open E and then that chord. Next we have the flamenco roll. So we slap a ghost note on the E string, then we pop 2 ghost notes, D and G string with the 1st and 2nd fingers. So E string, D string, G string. And that runs straight into this hammer on from the D to the E on the A string. So 5th fret to the 7th fret. Slap the D, hammer on to the E, okay? Okay, and then that comes down to the open E again. So the whole move sounds like this. Okay, now let's put those two moves together, which sounds like this. Okay, so begin slow and then just build up speed. To finish that bar, we have the following. So we slap the C sharp, 4th fret of the A string, then we slap the D, 5th fret of the A string, and then pop the D, the octave, 7th fret of the G string. Really easy. Okay, so when we add that to the rest of the riff, the second bar is almost identical, but instead of that C sharp to D octave, we have the following. So it's another one of these little repeated note cross hammers. So we begin on the G, 5th fret of the D string, pop and slap for the repeated note, cross hammer down onto the E, 7th fret of the A string, then slap that note again, so, and then pop the G, 5th fret of the D string. Okay, and that's it. So, all together we have the following. And now with the backing track. this riff's in F sharp minor, and we begin with a slap on the F sharp, 2nd fret of the E string. And we have an octave pattern, so then we just pop the F sharp, 4th fret of the D string. So we have, okay, so it's dotted 8th note, 16th note rhythm. Okay, then we have a slap on the G sharp to the A, so 4th fret to the 5th fret of the E string, so. Okay, then we have this little hammer-on move. So we slap the B, 2nd fret of the A string, hammer on to the C sharp, 4th fret of the A string. We do that very quickly, like a little grace note. So we have. Okay, so it's really quick little hammer on there. Then we have a slap on the B again, 2nd fret of the A string, and then we slap the C sharp, 4th fret. So we have, and we cut that C sharp short. Okay, so that's the first part of the riff. Okay, so again. Next, we have some thumb pops in there. So we have the following. Okay, so we have an octave pattern on the B, so 2nd fret A string, 4th fret G string, and we pop with the thumb and the first finger. And we slide that straight up 2 frets to the C sharp octave, so that's 4th fret A string, 6th fret G string. So it's a very quick little, again, more like a grace note. So we pop the octave and slide, and then we come back down to the B octave for a proper note. So after we've played the slide, we cut the note short, and then we land and resolve on that B octave. So all together, that sounds like this. Slowly. The second time through that riff sounds almost identical up to a point. So if I work through it, once we get to that B, we then pop the A 2nd fret of the G string. So, okay. Then we have this cross hammer repeated note lick again. So, okay. So we've got E 2nd fret of the D string. We pop and slap for the repeated note. Then hammer on at the C sharp, 4th fret of the A string, and then slap. So we've got 2 repeated notes there. And then we simply pop the E and then the F sharp, 2nd fret and then 4th fret of the D string. So that sounds like this. Okay, so all together. Okay, so now all of the riff all together. And now with the backing track. So those 5 riffs cover pretty much all of the different techniques that we've covered up to this point in the course. So now we can move across onto the final technique that we're going to look at, and that's double thumbing.